Hi, Minesh Baxi here, and thanks for coming. Now, most people talk about photography, and it has evolved so much that, frankly, today it is becoming confusing to say how can you take different photographs. And to make it easier, simpler, and for us understandable enough, we have Brendan.
Yes.
So, Brendan, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. You're a young man, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot
Thank
of
you.
energy, and you focus on real estate photography. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, mainly focused in the real estate industry. I find that that's kind of the niche that I fell into, and I love working in that. I get to see so many incredible homes and get a lot of great stories. It's very interesting, but it's something I definitely love doing.
Now, you are a newer entrepreneur, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey, because not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of funny because you read a lot and you kind of try to soak in as much information as you're going to begin like an entrepreneurship journey. And a lot of the things that people say, they're like, just get into something, do something, and you'll kind of learn along the way. You're never going to have a clear-cut path. It's never going to be exactly the way you think it is. I started out by flipping houses. That's how I wanted. That's what I thought my career was going to be. I was going to flip houses. I was going to be and my partner were going to be the next Chip and Joanna Gaines, and that was the story, right? And after two, I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. But during the process of flipping the houses, I documented the whole process. So I filmed and I did pictures and everything to show what we were doing. And, it turned out that I learned a lot about photography just doing that. And, complications in funding for another house, I was like, well, why don't we, take that off the back burner and really focus on something that we're good at? We already have the equipment. We already had a drone as well. So it's like, let's, see if we can make this work. So we kind of fell into it, and then it just blew up. We took our first photo on March 14th of this year, and we've done over 300 homes now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of taken off more than I expected, and I'm excited to see what next year has in store and everything after that. So, if anyone's asking for advice on entrepreneurship, it's really just do something and you'll kind of figure out what you want to do along the way.
And I think it's the passion.
Yeah.
So I can hear the passion in your voice.
Yeah, thank you.
Have found something that you enjoy, because it's easy to fumble into something. And in this case, you actually had a plan of some nature, at least let me try this out. But it was niche enough in terms of homes, photography, something which you are comfortable with already.
Exactly.
So in your case, looking at what are some of the challenges you faced when you were trying to obviously get at least something off the ground?
Yeah, so it's funny, there is that kind of craze of entrepreneurship right now. Go out and work for yourself, and it's all, roses and butterflies, and it's really not the case. You said passion, and I think that's something you have to have, because it is a grueling process, and over time it will kind of beat you down a little bit. So you have to really stay focused on your passion, and this is what I wake up every morning, and this is what I get to do. It's almost a privilege that I get to do this instead of going to work. And, it's a trade-off, though, because going to work, you're comfortable. You're getting your paycheck, someone else is writing your check, and you get to 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. Entrepreneurship is every day, all day. The phone never stops, and you have to be willing to accept that, but you also are afforded a lot of freedoms. And I think that was what really kind of like motivated me to get started. And then, like I said, I was interested in photography. I actually worked in Chicago for a couple years, and I worked for an interior designer. And when she would do photo shoots, I learned a lot about moving stuff around. And who would have thought that would have kind of set me up for what I was eventually going to get into? But I took kind of mental notes of, make sure the toilet seat's down, make sure the counters are clear. So I already kind of had that background a little bit in my head. And after that, having the equipment, having the background, it was a learning process. So you take the first one, I look at the first photos I took, and I'm like, why would anyone have hired us? Why did anyone want to use us? And now over time, you learn a little bit more about editing, you learn different styles, you get newer equipment, and all of a sudden the product becomes a lot better. So don't let it discourage people by saying, well, I don't have the right equipment, or I don't know anything about photography. Just start with one thing and let the ball continue to let the ball get rolling. And that's kind of what we did.
Wow. And you obviously learned very quickly is what I can sense.
Yes. Yeah, any time off was spent learning. So if we had, I remember the first week we had 5 appointments, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my gosh, we're actually doing it. I've done 5 in a day now. Like, that's how crazy it is. But in that time where we had 5 appointments, I had a lot of downtime to spend learning, different editing techniques. How do I merge photos? That's something I had no idea what it even was. But I took the time to learn, and I think that is what set us up for the success that we've had, is any downtime was spent learning.
Very interesting. So tell me a little bit about real estate photography. Obviously it's different from other types of photography which exist out there.
So it's kind of funny because people have asked us, like, do you do weddings and do you do, special events? And I shy away from them because that's not the area that I'm comfortable in. Real estate, there's certain areas that you have to understand, like you need a wide angle lens to do it because you want to capture the room as much as you can.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I'm going into like a living room or a dining room, I will go in the four corners and take pictures from the four corners because that'll showcase the whole room. You usually get 2 walls or maybe 2.5 walls, but that'll really show the whole room. And then if you have like a cool centerpiece, like a fireplace or like a really nice kitchen, I like taking shots head on to really kind of highlight that part of the house. So, for instance, like I said, a living room that has a beautiful fireplace, I won't just take the four corners, I'll also set directly up with the fireplace, and boom, I have a shot that really highlights the fireplace and also accentuates the rest of the room.
Interesting. And you were telling me about how you can take photographs for different times of the day to really highlight and put together a fantastic montage. So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So it's kind of funny because in the summer you have so much daylight.
Yes.
So I can schedule appointments from 10 a.m. all the way till like 8.
That's true.
I have a ton of time. Now, as we get closer into the winter months, my window is much smaller. I have maybe 11 to 4 where I can actually take photos. So you have to be aware of the time of day. You have to kind of understand where the sun is going to be at because that's a huge aspect to shooting the house. Another thing that people are really into right now are dusk photos. And what I basically do is I turn on all the lights in the house. And I go out and I wait for the sun to come down. Sometimes you'll get an absolutely beautiful sunset and you take photos with all the lights on the house and it just makes the place look immaculate. It's really cool when you kind of see it done. And then another thing that we do that really helps our photos is, a lot of people will say like, well, why can't I just use my iPhone? Or why can't I just use a regular camera?
Correct.
And the reason why you can't do that is if I go into a room and I take a picture and the room's bright, it's going to look okay, right? But your windows are going to be absolutely white. They're going to be blown out. So you have a bright room, but your windows are terrible. But if you turn it down to where you can see through the windows, your room's really dark. So what we do is we take photos at different exposure, which is brightness levels, a very low level where you can see right through the window, a medium level to where it's kind of a natural look, and then a very high level to where it brightens the room up. And then we merge them together in a software so you get the best of every aspect of it.
Wow.
You go see through the windows, but you also get the brightness in the room. And I think that is what separates, real professional photos from, a real estate agent going into the house, taking a photo with their iPhone and posting on the MLS. I mean, my favorites are when you see people post pictures and you can see them in the bathroom mirror, right? I mean, it doesn't do your client justice and it doesn't do you any justice as a real estate agent.
So obviously, if somebody is very serious about putting the right image together, they should talk to a professional who is not just using an iPhone or some version of that camera to put together whatever the client wants you to sell.
Exactly.
Right? It needs to be a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on that. So what are some of the interesting parts of your job that maybe some houses or process? Tell me a little bit about that.
So a couple interesting parts. Weather obviously makes a huge difference. Okay. So if it's raining, I can't do drone. No. Drone's completely out. But you also see me outside of a house with an umbrella over my head while I'm holding a camera trying to take pictures because I got to keep the lens clean. So rain always makes it a little interesting. But I have seen some incredible houses. You get to see, it's almost like I have a full book of like house designs in my head now because I've seen so many different backsplashes. I've seen so many different cabinet combos. It's like, I think I could design a house at this point. I know I couldn't, but I think I could. So that's really kind of a cool aspect of it. You meet a lot of great people too. It's kind of funny because, I've been in the real estate business and a lot of people don't want to talk to an agent, right? Even if they're thinking about selling their house, they don't want an agent cold calling them and then have to talk, blah, blah. It's more of a hassle. Everyone loves the photographer. And that's my favorite part about it. The agent loves the photographer if the pictures turn out great. And the homeowner is like, thank you for making my house look the way it is. So that's like the most rewarding part of it. And that's why I really love what we do because, if you do a good job, you're personable with people, you're going to be well liked in the industry.
Fantastic. Where do you see your career moving to? A year, 2 years? Again, you are in the relatively infant stage of being an entrepreneur.
Yep. Yeah, so, based on the clients that we're building up, it's really cool because the pictures kind of speak for themselves, right? It's the best form of advertising because you have the agent who posts them. And I've had people reach out to agents who they never met before and said, who did your photos? And then they get in contact with me. So we're kind of growing at an exponential rate right now because the more people that use us, the more people see the photos, it snowballs. So, I think it's going to be completely possible to double sales next year. I know I have my business partner right now is going to be going on full time at some point. And then I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of next year we have a full-time employee. So, we got to see, like we said earlier, you never really know what the path is going to, have in store for you. But that's kind of where my head's at right now. We'll kind of see where the numbers come in. But, I want to turn this into a full-time thing where I have multiple agents working, or not multiple agents, multiple photographers working, multiple editors, and we can really scale it as a business instead of just being known as a photographer.
Wow. Well, I think that sounds really fun to me too from that. So tell us a little bit about your fun personal life. I'm sure you have some hobbies, something interest that you want to share.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm a big-time golfer.
Oh.
I played college golf for 2 years.
Wow.
So I get a lot of fun out of playing golf. Now, I wasn't able to play as much this year, kind of trying to grow this thing. So that one's been on the back burner a little bit, but also hugely interested in fast cars. I love cars.
Fast cars.
That was honestly the original motivation to be an entrepreneur, because I had one of my mentors at one point in time said, listen, if you want to have that type of income, that life, you have to do it on your own. And that stuck with me forever. So it's like, okay, I have to do something on my own to be able to afford those luxuries. So that was the original, kind of spark that started everything. And, some people might call it materialistic, but I just call it motivation. I saw it and I said, I want that one day.
Everybody is materialistic. They wear clothes, they live in a house, they drive a car. Come on. You are materialistic.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Don't
so I see the
you're
shiny.
not materialistic. It's the question of what motivates you.
Yeah, and that was my motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And then the level, at the initial stage for most people, is material at some level.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because let's say that your goal in life, I mean, you don't even call it a life goal. Let's say your goal professionally is, I want to one day be able to afford a Lamborghini.
Correct.
Let's just say that. And you're able to accomplish that by being an entrepreneur and building a business. Not only do you put yourself in a position to afford a Lamborghini, at that stage, you're probably going to have employees. So you're putting food on other people's table. You're providing a life for other people. So you can call it materialistic, but you can also say, listen, that motivation got me to this point to where I can get, this and also have a life for all these other employees. And I think that's why it should be popular. Entrepreneurship should be popular, because you're creating opportunity for other people as well.
Well, that's why, again, we are in a country where the debate is going on between capitalism and socialism. And I mince no words about it. What makes US very different from any other country on the planet is we believe in free speech and free enterprise. And free enterprise is very simple, and capitalism is very simple. If I don't provide value, I don't make money.
It's that simple. Really, how do you make money? Provide value. That's the biggest thing in the world. You get paid for the value you provide to other people.
And the only people who have a problem with this are the ones who make money without providing value.
Yeah.
So they think everybody's a crook like themselves.
Right, exactly. I don't think that would be much of a fulfilling life either. I really wouldn't be. Yeah.
They are doing things that I don't think is really benefiting and making a difference in people's lives. And then they make money for whatever reason or however they make it. But people like you will not get paid if you don't do a good job of photography.
Yeah, and not only will I not get paid, I'll just run out of clients. No one will use me anymore. And I think that's kind of, almost call it Darwinism.
Yes.
The strong survive. Survival of the fittest. You provide something that's valuable, you're going to continue to succeed. If you don't, it's not going to work.
Exactly. So how do people get hold of you, Brendan?
Yeah, so I actually have all my information right here. It's funny, I have two phone numbers, and I can never remember both of them. It's bad, I know. But you can find me at www.apphotoandvideo.com. That's our website.
AP as in Apple, P as in Peter.
Correct. And then our email is aprealestatephotography@gmail.com.
Okay.
And if you want to give us a call, the business line is 248-716-0129.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed our conversation. You have great energy, enthusiasm.
Thank you.
And I love talking to entrepreneurs because I'm an entrepreneur and I know what it takes to succeed.
Yeah.
It's never easy, but it's a great life.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Once you have reached a certain level, at least, whatever that is,
yeah,
it's a much better life than most people could imagine.
It's not a boring life either. There's a lot of people where the life kind of is a straight line. Entrepreneur, you're up and down and up and down, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. Thanks again for coming, Brendan.
Thank you.
Thanks again for watching. I hope you got some tips and some interesting information. Have a great day.